Hey YouTube, I haven't made a video in a while, but here I go. I'm gonna do a little, I'm gonna do a little something different this time around. It's not gonna be about guns. With the California laws changing so much now, I just stopped buying guns in general. Um, I will be doing a review on this little puppy right here. Um, this is the Glock 19. And I've tried out a lot of different Glocks in my time, but I didn't like them until Glock 19. So I'll do a review on that a little bit later. But this is actually my go-to pistol now. Um, Kind of my main home protection pistol, I guess you could say. Everything else is locked in the safe, so that's good. There's no kids in the house, so there's nothing to worry about really. Um, but this video I'm gonna be doing on e-cigarettes, and as you could tell from my other videos, I used to smoke, and I don't have the great of a health. So I needed to quit, and I've been trying to find ways around quitting, and I ended up spending a lot of money on V2 e-cigarettes, which is not bad. It did okay. I should try to pull one out here. Oh, right there. There we go. This is the long automatic battery, but I have 2 additional batteries. I bought 4 altogether. I lost 1 of these little stick batteries, and I tried quitting with this, and I just it was no good. I would smoke some of this. I'd light up a real cigarette afterwards. I'll smoke some of this, and there's a lot of vapor from this, and this is partly due to me popping this little top off and filling it with my own little fluid, just to produce a little bit more vapor. But what I noticed is I get more vapor, but I cannot take the second or third drag without tasting a burnt flavor. So I have to wait after I take 1 drag. With the normal cartridges, I could go back to back to back. The only problem is that it'll dry really quickly. So these little stick pen batteries, they were good, but I just couldn't quit with them. So I mean, after 6-7 months of trying this out, I upgraded to the Ego style battery, and actually totally overpaid for this one. But this is when the Ego style battery was at its hype, and they were expensive. So I paid $100 for this with 1 atomizer. So I got ripped off, per se. I'm not gonna say where I got ripped off at, but actually it stood the stand of time. I charged this thing like almost 200 times so far, and it's been holding up. So I guess it's not really a waste of money. This is what actually got me off smoking. The little stick batteries are great, but the problem is they run out of battery. And carrying 2 and 3 of these around, opposed to just 1 of these, it's obviously one of those is much better than carrying these little things around. Also, the throat hit on this, it's there, it's just not consistently there. That's not bad. But it's not that great either. So what I noticed was, out of all the stick batteries that I've tried, and I only bought V2 by the way, but my friends have tried Blue and Safe and all those kind of cigarettes. I noticed that V2 actually had the best flavor and the batteries lasted the longest. Customer service was great, so I went with V2. The only problem was that these cartridges are very expensive. I ended up spending more on these cartridges than smoking cigarettes. So what I ended up doing was I ended up buying one of those clear misers. It's called the EZ or FC or whatever, called blanks. Let me see here. The EX blanks. And what this is I can put my own fluid on a clearomizer and use it on the V2s. So this made it a little bit better, but it still didn't replace the traditional cigarettes. The flavor is there. The flavor is by far outstanding. But the vapor production is horrible. The throated is not that great. And partly the reason to do with that is this is running at like 3.7, 3.8 volts. On a full charge, I get about 3.89 volts ish, which is pretty good on a little stick battery. But the ohms on these clear ohmizers or atomizers or whatever you want to call it, the ohms on these suckers are like 3.3 ohms. So they're very high resistance, which is not bad. I mean, if you had a variable voltage mod, I guess that'd be, or battery, it'd be much better. But like I said, it's not that great either. But definitely, will get you. Well, I don't. It didn't get me off smoking, so I had to upgrade. And now, actually, I smoked for 15 years, and I've been smoke free for about 2 weeks. Well, yeah, because even when I upgraded to the Ego style, or the Ego Twist style, I still popped like 1 or 2 cigarettes. If my friends were smoking, my brother was smoking, let's say give me one, one a day. I've been totally smoke free for about 2 weeks now, so I've been feeling a lot better. Like I have a cold right now, so it doesn't really show, but I could breathe a lot better. I've been sleeping better. I smell things that I didn't smell before, and smoking for 15 years, that's like half my life. It's something that I'm not used to, but I do get those senses back. So these are good. They're kind of hard to totally kick smoking habits with just little pen batteries. I've seen people do them, but they do cut down on traditional cigarettes quite a bit, and so I definitely recommend these little stick batteries for those who are in the entry level e-cigarette. But nowadays, who's in the entry level e-cigarette? Everyone is buying those huge mech mods and putting sub-ohm coils on them and blowing clouds, and I'm not into the cloud chasing. If I was, then I'd probably use zero, and I wouldn't have smoked from the beginning. I understand this could be a hobby. Definitely became kind of a hobby for me, but it's more of a means to kick the habit of smoking. And I started off the 18 milligram per milliliter nic level, worked my way down to 6 right now. I'm actually on 6, and every once in a while, if I do use those rebuildable atomizers, I'll use 0, just because the thing sucks up so much juice. It delivers so much nicotine that I just prefer to use 0 or dilute the 6 into a 3 and then use the 3. So just so that I have some nicotine, but it's just so much smoke. So I decided to use 0 on the rebuildables, and something like a Nimbus rebuildable right here. I tend to use 0 or 3 on that. 6 every once in a while. I could use 6 on this because the coil that I built on it is actually a micro coil, and I have it at 1.9 ohms. So I could actually run that on one of these Ego batteries. They work great. I have an APV coming. I have the Vamo V5. That's probably going to be my everyday carry around big lightsaber kind of vaporizer. But besides that, right now what I carry on is the Ego Twist, by far my favorite. And this is what got me totally off smoking. Here's the reason why. This is variable voltage. I control the voltage by twisting the bottom here. And this actually works out very well. I've checked it with my good old multimeter that I use quite often. If you're going to rebuild coils, this is a necessity, really. There is that ohms checker where you could click it and click it on. I think it's kind of useless, right? It's $20. You could just get a cheapo multimeter for 10. Or the one I have is 100, but I use it for more than just e-cigarettes. So the vapor production on these is outstanding. Let's just show you a little something. Okay. How about this? These are the Fumi Miser Clear Ohmizers, or the Fumi Clear Ohmizers. This is just a stock coil. I did rebuild on a couple of them, but just for the sake of the video, this is how you'll get it if you buy it. Um, the vapor production was wonderful. Opposed to little stick batteries, this is definitely a step up. Great. Sorry about that, I got a telephone call, and I don't know where I exactly left off, but yes, with these ergo batteries and the clear atomizers, they give you a lot better vapor production. The flavor, I say it's about the same, but the vapor production is there. So this is definitely a step up. And right now, how I'm smoking is all mouth to lung. There's two ways to smoke. One is straight to lung, where you just take it and you're breathing it in. And the second is you kind of suck it into your mouth and then you inhale and you let out. Traditionally, as a smoker, I'm used to putting it into my mouth, inhaling and letting it out. So I still have that habit, but with the rebuildables, I tend to just go straight to lung, and then you get the thicker clouds that way. But you could restrict the holes in the rebuildable and definitely go mouth to lung. It's just, I mean, if you're gonna build a rebuildable, there's really no point in going mouth to lung. So for all those other videos out there that say, hey, that guy's not inhaling, no, he's inhaling. He's just inhaling straight to lung. That's the difference. So, okay, stick battery is where I started, and I moved up to this right at the hype of the ergos, and I paid $100, and it was nuts, and I paid a lot. And then after smoking on this, and with the V2s, I was smoking still about half a pack to a pack of cigarettes a day. But with these, I cut it down to like a quarter of a pack, and almost sometimes no cigarettes a day. When I moved to the variable voltage is when I had 0 cigarettes. So I'll give you an explanation on why that is. With the variable voltage, I tend to use the Kinger Protein 3 clear atomizer, or atomizer, or atom. All these phrases, sayings, and all that, it's starting to get a little bit annoying. So I'm just going to call it the atomizer. With the Kinger Protein 3, you're going to notice a little bit better vapor production opposed to, let me see if this is going to connect. Okay, maybe not. So the problem with the ergo batteries is that this video is going to be kind of long because I'm going to try to stuff everything in one. You see that middle connector right there? When you start adding, per se, atomizers, and it pushes it down, and it's supposed to spring back up, but sometimes the juice gets down there, it's a little sticky, and it won't spring back up. And that is when you start getting problems. You start getting problems. And I'll come back and tell you what coil I use. I kind of dedicated to one coil now, after building like 100 coils. Let me see if I can get a little pin and nudge it up a little bit, so that I could show you the Kinger tank on this Ego battery. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting in between there, I'm just nudging it up slowly, kind of helping it along. Come on. I'm barely touching it, just nudging it up, hopefully just enough for me to make contact with that middle post. And maybe. Nope. Yeah. See, there you go. You see how before it didn't work, and then now it's kind of working. There, it's working. I'm not sure if you could hear that crackle and pop. There you go. So the vapor protection is there, and especially on these bottom firing coils, they're pretty awesome. So I'm going like what I started with and then taking it a step up at a time. There we go. Again, I'm going mouth to lung. Straight to lung would be something like this. I could let it out right away. I tend to go mouth to lung with even these Kinger Pro tanks. Every once in a while I'll go straight to lung if really want that nicotine, but I mouth to lung still on the Kinger Pro tanks. Or any kind of traditional atomizers. Oh, that's very airy. The more air you have, if you go mouth to lung, you're not gonna get a very good hit or vape, I guess you could say. So the little beauty ring, they call it. I didn't know what these were called until I saw a box and they called this a beauty ring, which makes total sense because they make the whole setup look a lot more beautiful. So I guess you would call it a beauty ring. So with this, like this, now I can take this off and then unscrew the beauty ring and kind of close off that airflow. Still works. Now the draw is a lot tighter. And the vapor protection is, I guess, more thicker. There you go. Now I don't really run it like this. See, so I'm outputting 3.92 volts on this battery, and this is just stock on a full charge, non-adjustable. But because this is a 2.4 ohm coil, I like to run it with a little bit higher voltage, and this is where the variable voltage mod shines, and I will show you in a second. Variable voltage mod, and I have this set at 4.7 volts, or 4.74 when I check it on the voltmeter. Now this thing, so you saw it hit on the standard Ego battery, and then now with the C-twist, this will be a lot more vape, almost like the dripping atomizers, rebuildables on. I actually have another Ego twist in black, and I love these things. This is how I carry it around. They're slim, they're thin. I could put it in my pocket and just not worry about it. Click it off. All that. I'm gonna switch to the Vamo and try to carry that. Although that's huge, I'm gonna try to carry that around. But for the time being, this is the best setup that I've seen. And the reason why is you don't get that cloud like the sub-ohm you do with the magnetic mods. And right now this has an 18500 battery in there. Although I like to use 18650s. I'll get to that a little bit later. With these variable voltage batteries and like a Kinger tank, where you're not going to rebuild the coil, right? Most people don't rebuild Kinger tank coils. Although I did to run it on something like this. And I built a coil to 1.3 ohms with 28 gauge Canthal wire and cotton wick. And that's the coil that I rebuilt. And it works great. It heats up real quick, but just it's kind of annoying to constantly switch out the coils when I want to move to the adjustables. So I also built 2 more micro coils. I'm not sure if you see that. And that I'm gonna put in my rebuildable, and with my calculations, this should be 1.5 ohms if I run dual coil. I wrapped each coil with roughly 7 inches, so it's going to net me about 3 ohms a coil. If you don't know the ohms per wraps and all that there, hopefully you can pause it there and write it down. So that's per feet. So if you're going to use 1 feet of 28 gauge Canthal, you're going to get 5.27 ohms. Now 1 feet is gigantic, 12 inches. Probably going to get like 24 wraps on that, 24 coils. Not going to work well, I guess you could say. So Usually when I build my microcoils, I build it to 12 wraps. So this would be 12-13 or 11-12. Sometimes 13-14 wrap. I net about 1.9 ohms. But this time around I used a bigger screwdriver and I wrapped it around 7 inches. I try to get as much wrapped as I can with the 2 leads. It's supposed to give me 3 ohms per coil, 1.5 ohms if I run dual coil, but I'm gonna snip off the ends. After putting it on the rebuildable atomizer, I'm gonna drop the ohms a little bit more. So I'm looking at like 1.2 to 1.5, right? Realistically, because I'm gonna snip off the ends a little bit, and then putting it on that atomizer also reduces the ohms just a bit. So that being said, I don't like running sub-ohm anymore. I mean, I still do every once in a while, but 30 minutes of vaping, no more battery on an 18650, it's just, I'd rather have something more consistent, and microcoils, I guess, does that. So enough about stepping too far ahead. I'm going to try to keep this video shorter than, I guess, an hour, because this is getting very long. But this is from beginning to end, you know, from going from the little stick battery to the ergo battery to the ergo adjustable battery. And I should show you the VAMO or the APVs and like the iTaste, but I'm going to skip that and then go straight to the mechanical batteries. So, but even after that, this is my setup, and I'll show you why. I have this cranked up to 4.73 volts on a stock 2.4 ohm coil on a Pro Tank, and this is the vapor production on it, mouth to lung. It's kind of very good. And the flavor's there. Doesn't taste burnt. I could keep drawing on it. It won't taste burnt, and it's good. It's like a real cigarette. And this totally got me off smoking. This is great. The only reason I'm coughing is because I have a cold, so just water. And what I am vaping, I've been stuck on this stuff. The OMG is the company name, and WTF is the flavor, which is they told me it was sour cherry sour belt or whatever, and then I read that it was strawberry sour belt, and then now I'm reading that it's kiwi sour belt. So no matter what kind of sour belt it is, it's delicious. I've been stuck on that fluid. This is my 3rd bottle into it, so I have 2 empty bottles of that. This one's actually running pretty freaking low too, so that's the fluid in here. Usually the vapor production on this is great, especially at 4.73 volts. I could probably pump it up to 4.94. I just don't choose to, I don't need to. But it's great. And then when I get the VAMO, hopefully I can keep it consistent at 5 volts using 18650 batteries. And this is kind of why I wanted the VAMO, so that I could use the 18650 batteries and everything will last forever. Although this lasts me a full day, so it works. It's great. So you saw the vapor production on that, and this little stick battery, well, not stick battery, but this ergo battery, moved up to here with the voltage up is much greater, much better. Now, let's go with the rebuildable atomizers. And this, actually, I didn't sub-ohm it. No, I did not. Interesting. Look at that. That is a microcoil, 28 gauge, using Kanthal A1 wire. And gosh, look, I'm running it off our little eco battery. I'm not using this big, huge mechanical mod. That's kind of what I was going for. Mechanical mods are great for sub-ohm. Anything besides sub-ohm mechanical mods kind of you can't control the voltage unless you put a kick in there. I don't want to do that, so I kind of wanted to build a coil that I could use on my ergo batteries or even the Vamo without, you know, without, I guess, compromising the smoke. This actually works out great, and this I'm using 0 OMG BFF, and this is actually not that great. It's okay, it's passion fruit, but it's not like the WTF where it's I could live on this stuff. But the upside, this is 0, so 1.9 ohm means that I could just probably run it on this 3.9 volt. These batteries are already at 2.5 amps, and I'm actually right there. I'm drawing 2.49 amps, so pretty much hitting the limit on these batteries, but they work and they've been working, so it's great. Let's line up the air holes. And when I got this rebuildable, it's a clone, by the way, it was very dirty. Dirty meaning there was like still machining, like shreds of metal in there. Make sure you wash these. So mouth to lung, you're not going to get much vapor unless you close off one of these holes. So I'm going to close off these 2 holes in the back and mouth to lung. So the rebuildable dripping atomizers are more meant for straight lung hits, and the vapor production is immense, especially even in a microcoil at 1.9 ohms. This thing will produce a cloud of smoke. A short hit. Now, because it's a microcoil, it takes a little bit to warm up. So the more I vape, the more vapor is gonna come out. But you could tell, I mean, it's producing great smoke. It's not like a sub-ohm coil where I'm gonna go boom cloud, but the flavor is there, especially because I'm using cotton wick. It's much cleaner. I still use silica at times, but I tend to use cotton. So yeah, rebuildable dripping atomizer on an ergo battery, and I've actually done a lot of YouTube searches on this, and I haven't seen a lot of it. It's possible, depending on how you build your coil. Now, please don't be like the people that build their coil where they wrap their silica wick and then they wrap the coil around like that. No, that doesn't. It's sloppy and it won't burn correctly. The ohms will start fluctuating. If you want to build a coil, just get one of these little screwdrivers and then wrap the coil around, push it together. Want to make it a microcoil? Then just heat it up and apply it together. It's very easy. So with that being said, I don't use a dripping with the 4.8 volts. It's just it becomes very hot, and I don't need that. The coil that I use right here, 28 gauge Canthal A1 wire, 100 feet of this stuff will last you forever, and I use this to rebuild pretty much every coil out there. On Pro Tanks, I just use a microcoil. I try to get the 1.3, 1.4 ohms. This is 28 gauge Canthal wire wrapped 11, 12 times, and I get like 1.9 ohms. So it is possible. It all depends on how much wire you use, not really how many wraps you have, but how much wire you use. And again, with this little chart, you could calculate, snip off how much you need. Like if I wanted to get a 3 ohm, I'd use 7 inches, right? If I wanted, say, 28 gauge will give you 5.27 ohms per feet. So if I use 6 inches, then just divide 5.27 by half, you'll get like roughly 2.635 ohms, right? So that's how you calculate the ohms, not per coil, but per how much you use. Rebuildable on a little ergo battery. Works great. Just got a drip. My current setup, I like the mouth to lung, so. Not as much vapor production as the RDAs, but definitely something you can't, just wing off, right? This is great. Now, if you want to go straight to lung, I can just bring down this little QT coil, get more air. Straight to lung, but I don't like to do that on the Kinger tanks. Close up the air in his mouth lung. Great vapor production. For this setup, great vapor production. Rebuildables, obviously, you're going to get a lot more vapor production. With the microcoils, you get a lot more flavor. The sub-ohms, I get a little bit less flavor, a lot more cloud, though. I wish I had a sub-ohm coil I could show you, but I don't right now. I'm probably not going to make another one of these vaping videos. I just made one long one just to, for those of you that are getting into it and that have the stick batteries and don't know if they want to hop straight over to the mechanical mods, don't do it. Mechanical mods, sub-ohm, awesome. This one is running out of battery, but with a mechanical mod, I mean, running anything else besides sub-ohm it's kind of pointless. So, I mean, this is a Smoke-Tech Magneto, by the way. I also have a Nemesis and a few others, but good thing about mech mods, though, is because there's no circuitry, you can hold on to that button for as long as you want. On the ergos, it's 10 seconds, so you can only take a 10-second hit. But if you're the type that wants to inhale for 15 seconds, the mech mods will do it for you. So. This battery is at like 3.3 volts that I'm running at the bare end of this battery, and my charger is not here at the moment, so I haven't been able to charge this, so that's why I'm not getting the the clouds that you normally see off these mech mods, but it's the battery, it's not the coil. So with the fully charged ergo battery, you can tell I get a lot more poof, I guess you could say. And the whole room is smoky. I'm not blowing into the camera. If I do, then it's gonna go poof, but blowing to the side. So it produces great vapor. Not quite like a sub-ohm, but definitely thick and big. All the dripping on that sucker all the time is might get kind of annoying. Kicker Pro Tank, I'll blow this into the camera and kind of show you, because that's what everyone does, and that's kind of how you can tell how much vapor is, I guess. Not bad. Definitely a lot better than those stick pens, or the little Shisha or CE4 clear omizers. So if I run this 4.74 volts on this sucker, by the second hit, it'll start to taste burnt, and so stay away. Don't up. The ohms on this is 2.4, but it just won't. It can't handle the voltage. The wick can't suck up the liquid fast enough. So bottom burning coils, definitely you could up the voltage on this sucker end. There you go. I hope you enjoyed my little spew talk, and from beginning to end. Even with all the stuff that I have, I still use this. You could get these batteries for like 15 to 20 bucks. They retail for like $25. This tank, you could get it for like, I don't know, $25 to $30. With like $50 or $60 investment, you'll be good to go, and you could quit smoking. 50 bucks to quit smoking, definitely worth it, including the fluid, $55. Will last you 3 days. So, and then again, 3 days per $5 fluid. And I tend to smoke on the heavy side, so that's still much cheaper than a cigarette. Right, it's a third of the price of a cigarette. For me, more than the price though, it was all about just quitting. So that's how I went to V2s. And the V2s, that's going to 2 cartridges a day, 3 cartridges a day. It was turning out to be more expensive than cigarettes, so I kept using it for as long as I could, but it just didn't cut it. This does the job. The throat hit's there, the vapor production is there. Not like the rebuildables, definitely not. But it's the rebuildables are just, it's like a refreshing hit of goodness. And because that's zero, I can just constantly drip. When I'm at home, dripping, awesome. Sub-ohm, hey, why not? Maybe I might make another video showing a sub-ohm only, or me making a coil just for those people that are still wrapping the coil around the wick. But besides that, I'm not gonna make any more vaping videos. This is just a video to be as informative as I can from beginning to end, how I actually quit smoking. I'm 2 weeks off cigarettes, so I guess 2 more weeks and I'll consider myself quit smoking. So, I mean, I show you my setup. This is my daily walk around. Great vape. For a tank? Really? Mouth to lung? Can't expect better. Now rebuildables, sub-ohming it, or when I actually put these coils in, the one I showed you, the dual micro coils, probably 1.3 ohms, that's gonna blow a thick, heavy cloud. But I can still use it on my Ergo batteries, just on 3.2 volts on the adjustable, because if I draw any more, then I'm gonna go above the battery amp limit. Please be safe. For you guys that are rebuilding out there, know the limits of your battery. It's very important, very, very, very important. And for those of you that don't or cannot calculate, it does not show on the internet, so I don't know how much amp current I could draw. Then, geesh, look for the C rating. So I will show you how to calculate the C rating. This one is rated at 8C, and it's an 11 milliampere per hour battery. So 11 mAh battery, 1100 mAh battery. Divide that by 1000, right? So that's 1.1. Multiply it by the C rating, which makes it 8.8. 8.8 is the max draw amps I could take off this battery. I will not hit 8.8. I will keep it at 7 or below. So that's how you calculate the amp draw from these batteries. If you're unsure, 18650 Sony 30 amp draw battery is the safest bet you could go. To get 30 amp draw, really, you could run it on a 0.1 ohm coil, 4.7 volts. Let me calculate that real quick. Will not net you 30 amps. Let's say you had a full charge of 4.2 volts on a mech mod, and you had like a 0.01 resistance. Did I do something wrong? A 0.1 ohm resistance. Holy moly, maybe I could be wrong. So let's go 4.1 volts because you'll still be drawing 42 amps if that happened with a 0.1 resistance. Okay. Voltage 4.1 at resistance 0.1 ohms, very, very low. Oh wow, you're still drawing 41, so 0.2 ohms is, there we go. Alright, so with a 4.1 volt battery at fully charged, at 0.2 ohms resistance, you're drawing 20.5 amps, 84.05 watts. That's something massive, and you'd probably get that off a 1-2 wrap, off like a twisted 28 gauge Canthal or a 24 gauge 1-2 wrap dual coil. You might be able to get 0.2 out of that. And then you would just be stuck with those Sony 30 amp draw batteries, which is not so bad. Why is this getting stuck? Oh no. It is, my vape drawer is stuck. And I just wanted to show you what a twisted 28 gauge looks like before I end this video, this very, very long video. I hope you guys had the time to watch it all and learned or got something off the video. This is twisted 28 gauge Canthal. And I'm not gonna do the whole hey look, focus, look at this. I'm recording on a webcam because all my other camcorders are in the closet. I'm too lazy to pull it out. Okay. So twisted 28 gauge Canthal, and I'm not gonna tell you how to twist wires because it's online everywhere. Just know that a drill and an Allen wrench is gonna be a pain in the ass to twist a cable because it's gonna slip out. What I use is my handy dandy Dremel, which I use for all my other hobbies. And I have this little easy clip, and I just hold on to one side of the wire with pliers, and then I clip on the other side of the wire with this easy clip. Turn the Dremel onto 4, and then twist it till it breaks off. Works perfect. I get even twists. There's other ways out there. If you're gonna use a drill, I suggest using a chopstick, drilling a hole in the end of it, threading one of the wires through, holding the end of the wires with the pliers. Right? The Allen wrench thing, it'll work, but it's a pain in the ass if it keeps slipping out. So I tend not to do it. Thank you for watching this intensely long video. I hope it helped. Please message me if you have any questions. My current setup is the Ergo C Twist, which is like a $15 to $20 battery. on a Kinger Pro Tank 3. Yes, and I think I paid $30 at a store. You get it online for like $25. So that's my setup. If I drop it, break it, I'm not gonna cry about it. Alright. So that's currently why I carry it around with the vapor production, and throat hit is what I see as best for the portability. And that's why I carry that. And something like the mech mods, which actually the magneto is very light, so I'm not gonna say it's a bad mod to carry around, but you know, constantly drip. Like when you're driving, you're not gonna drip. It's just not gonna happen. So that's why I use the tank system. One full tank is 2.5 milliliters to 3 milliliters. All lasts me like half a day if I smoke heavy. Just all I really need. If I'm out, then I don't hold on to the e-cig constantly. Maybe when I'm sitting down drinking a cup of coffee. So that tank will last me the whole day. If I'm at home, the tank will last me about half a day. Just, you know, moderately, constantly actually puffing on it. I hope this helps. Like I said, thank you for watching the video, and bye bye.